My wife is hiding correspondence with ex-affair partner. Roughly 2 years ago it came to light that my wife was having what she claimed was only an emotional affair with an industry peer of hers. At the time I was working in a very toxic job, and was admittedly neglecting our relationship. I'm not excusing the affair, but giving some context on our history. We went to some therapy, she ended the affair, and we've slowly gotten back to a pretty good place. I quit the terrible job last summer, and have improved my mental and physical health tremendously since leaving. The ex-affair partner has contacted her a handful of times since the affair ended. Each time she assures me that it is just work-related, etc. One of the times we were out to dinner, and he texted her hi while her phone was on the table. Fairly benign, but it was enough to pretty much ruin our date night. When I got home from work last night I had to break it to her that some plans we'd made for our anniversary this weekend were likely going to fall through due to some last-minute schedule changes at work. She was aware that this was a possibility, and we discussed contingencies for a later date. She gave me the cold shoulder all evening, then blew up before going to bed. She told me that I've been completely unreliable for our entire relationship, and that she could only count on me to be a disappointment, etc. I felt kind of blindsided, and don't think that this was a fair reaction. I'd been looking forward to our anniversary for weeks, and am also disappointed that we have to reschedule our plans. Her response dragged up some baggage and insecurity, so after not being able to sleep I went and snooped on our shared office computer. I found a chain of deleted work emails with the ex-affair partner ranging from last month to about a year ago. Last month she had done some graphic design work for a small business he's starting. In earlier emails he whines about how he's still in love with her, and how much he misses her. She said she misses him too. I feel completely sick, and guilty for having gone through her emails, but I can't just ignore them. I feel totally lost and discouraged. Part of me just wants to bury this and not acknowledge it. How do I confront her about this? Do I even confront her, or just keep working on myself, and try to be the best husband possible? Comment. Suo. The question is, what do you want for yourself? Meaning that, this has continued, and she actually told this shitbag she misses him. What else do you want, sir? She's lying to you and completely not trustworthy. This is all you know of, what else don't you know? Dumb her, man. You gotta love on. I don't know if you got kids or whatever, but she's fucking around, if not leaving that option open for sure. The urge to ignore it and pretend it's not happening is pretty natural. It seems to happen to a lot of people upon finding out that their spouse is having an affair. It will pass and eventually you will have to address it, so you might as well get it over with now. The first thing you have to do is make a decision on whether or not to stay in the marriage at this point. You cannot do this whilst living with her, so, ideally, you should ask her to leave the house while you figure all of this out. Could be weeks, could be months, but she's gotta go. If she won't leave then you have to, and I know there is some risk on divorce if the husband leaves. Can't hurt to pack a bag at this point, so when you do confront her you can leave immediately after. The most important piece of all of this is that you get away from her to do some thinking about the next path you take in life, and do not rug sweep what you've found. Best of luck to you, my friend. I miss you too. An emotional affair is still ongoing. Save all documentation of her cheating somewhere safe. Talk to a lawyer and figure out your finances. Confront her once you are sorted out and ask if the other guy has been approaching her at all. When she denies it, show her a copy of the emails. Show her how the affair is ongoing. Ask what she can do to get you to trust her again, after the last time. Then divorce her. Look at the laws in your state. In some states you can sue the AP. I'd make a plan to leave and not tell her. Talk to a lawyer to see what you should do. She's being cruel because she's comparing you to her fantasy lover. I say fantasy because that's all he is now. I'd let him have her. Once you found her cheating, several things needed to happen. If they worked with each other, she need to leave. She had to cut off all communication and block him. She had to also be completely open with all her electronic devices. The affair never had ended. You can either let her know that actions indicated she is in an affair and you checked, which you should have been doing along, or go ahead and face your reality, see an attorney, and have her served. There the conversation is different, and if she truly wants to save the marriage, then you don't have to follow through. Was there ever any consequences for her cheating? Every relationship issue has been magnified and blown out of proportion because this guy has been a wedge in your marriage. You never had a chance for a happy marriage with your wife secretly inviting this guy into your marriage. With this guy whispering BS in her ear, and making her feel special. Your wife has made thousands of decisions that undermines your marriage. Her behavior is selfish, entitled, deceitful, and shows zero empathy for you. Next story 2. I feel betrayed by my husband 30M due to his wandering eye. How can I forgive him and feel safe in our marriage again? I have been married to my husband for 4 years. We have a beautiful son and another on the way. I have always deeply loved him and felt safe with him, and never, even for a second, had eyes for another while with him. Heck, even in my actual dreams where I would find attraction in someone else, would feel immense guilt for even thinking about looking at another. I thought he loved me with the same intensity. That all changed on Friday. I saw messages between my husband and his best friend, who I also know very well. A month before our wedding, while I was so blinded by affection and giddy from happiness, my husband went to a Nikon photography event and there was a model present during a workshop on how to shoot portraits. Of course this by itself is fine, but he shared those photos with his friend and spoke extensively on how hot and sexy she is. He was blown away by her beauty and shared how insane she would be in bed. He spoke like this about a lot of women, often taking discreet photos of them to show to his friend as they converse on how attractive they are. While there was no physical steps taken to turn this into an act of cheating, I still feel like I was betrayed and actively disrespected. But it was one situation in particular that I can't get over. He talked extensively about his female nurse colleague, let's call her Sarah. Sarah was a very pretty, skinny, blonde and blue-eyed small woman. I am a Muslim woman who covers her hair and am not small, or blonde, or have blue eyes. In fact, almost all of the women he lusted over in those chats look similarly to her. My husband was very good friends with Sarah, talking to her constantly, and establishing a friendly relationship while at work. He bragged to his friend about working with her and how crazy she makes him. Once again, there was no physical steps taken beyond discussing his sexual dreams to his friend. He never set boundaries, and I could never imagine the scenario where I am in love with my spouse yet lust over others. I understand this isn't infidelity, and in the end it is just talk, but I can't stop thinking about Sarah. How I can never look like her, how his type seems to be diametrically opposed to how I look like. How can I stop feeling betrayed and depressed over this? How can I possibly feel any sort of confidence in my pregnant body when all these years I thought my husband would never look at another woman in this way? Or am I just overreacting and there's no need to be concerned? Comnet. You make the mistake women in your situation often make. Instead of focusing on I am not enough, realize that it's your husband who isn't enough. You could be the most perfect woman/man and your partner could still disrespect you like this. Why? BC, this isn't about you. This is about your partner. His lack of respect and love towards you. This a great way to look at it? Quit with the, I'm not enough for him. He's clearly not enough for you. He literally turned around and would brag to his buddy that this girl asked him to come over. The only time I can ever imagine something like this is if it were more or less just joking/locker room talk. Unfortunately, it sounds like he has real issues with being attracted to other women. Having that conversation with the friend with you involved was probably one of the most important steps he could have taken towards trying to repair the trust he's broken. That being said, don't downplay the situation. This is infidelity and should be treated as such. My girlfriend and I regularly discuss people that we think are hot as play banter. I've done the same with friends. Never in my life have I extensively imagined and described to another individual my thoughts about fucking someone else and how amazing it would be. That isn't just talk, and the fact he incorporated a co-worker into the discussion is a stupidly huge red flag. What would happen if this nurse co-worker of his started flirting with him and got playful? Are you confident right now that he would shut it down? I don't know your partner, so I won't include my opinion, but I think these are important things to think about. Did you see the text messages for yourself of him refusing to go see her, or did he tell you verbally? It could be a good sign if you got written confirmation of him refusing to spend time alone with her, but at the same time kind of worrying because they're co-workers and spend multiple hours a day together. I'm not trying to freak you out, nor am I trying to make you overly paranoid. At the same time, I think it's important to give this as much thought as possible and really consider how much of a toll the overthinking, the wondering, and the responsive controlling behavior you might need to impose on him to feel secure and reassured. I wanted to avoid straight up shoving personal opinion into this, but I can't avoid it, I'm sorry. If he has fantasies about her and she's showing direct interest in getting some time alone with him, he absolutely should not be texting her outside of things strictly related to work. Don't care if they're two little peas in a pod and have a nice little friendship. Mistakes come with consequences, and restoring trust and commitment to your relationship should be his utmost priority if he's actually remorseful. Sorry for the wall of text lol. Wow. So he's lusting over this woman, knows she's into him, and still pursuing private, and not professionally necessary, communication with her? Your husband is setting himself up to have an affair, emotion or physical, at some point. He's stomping all over the boundaries that should be obvious to most people regarding marriage and monogamy. Also, I would never be okay with my husband objectifying women with his friend. So gross.